Hi everyone, we're here at West Ham Stadium. I'm the Sport Review co-founder, Kieran Beckles, and with me is Alex Sharp, freelance journalist.
Hello.
So we're here to discuss the Premier League's games today, and we're going to start with aptly West Ham in front of the impressive Olympic Stadium. So Alex, anything over but a West Ham win today, or can you see Sunderland causing West Ham a few problems?
Very difficult to call, but I mean, all the pressure is on David Moyes at Sunderland. He already looks like a bit of a beaten man. The squad is depleted. The points have not been coming. West Ham have had a tricky start, but I think the Boo Boys have been away in recent games, and they've certainly not as in much trouble as Sunderland. So I see West Ham pulling away with a narrow victory. I'm glad no fans are around here, but yeah, I think narrow victory for West Ham.
So narrow victory for West Ham, even though they have struggled at their new stadium. You don't think that will play into their minds a little bit? I mean, even today as we're coming here, it is quite quiet. There's no real atmosphere here yet. That could cause problems, and it could give someone a bit of a chance.
Yeah, I think the stadium thing's been overplayed. I think Slaven Bilic has done a good job at downplaying that. The media has jumped onto that, but I think they are, in the old cliches, you know, they are professional footballers and they should be able to adapt to new surroundings. They're a very talented squad. If they can get people like Dimitri Payet playing as well as he has done for France and last season, they've got the talent to absolutely, romp past Sunderland. So it's all about how Sunderland set up and whether there'll be two big banks of defence or whether they'll go for it.
Yeah. Well, that seems like it's an easy West Ham win according to Alex. Across London there's also another game today, Arsenal against Middlesbrough. Arsenal have been in fantastic form in recent weeks. Again, is this another easy win? Are you going for a home win?
If you watched Wednesday with Arsenal Champions League against Ludogorets, you'd say yes, but Ludogorets, everyone knows, are not the leading lights in European football. Arsenal have got this sort of bubble at the moment, which everyone likes to mock and burst at around February and March. Theo Walcott is on fire. They've got beautiful fluidity to their attacking football, bit of a sort of defensive solidity with Mustafi and Koscielny at the back. But it's the teams like Middlesbrough that have caught out Arsenal in the past. It has been that sort of defensive vulnerability, set pieces, if they go a goal down by a Negredo header or something. There could be some tense moments at the Emirates, but I think at the moment it's going well. Do you see that one, Arsenal?
I'm not as confident as Alex. I mean, I think Arsenal have been brilliant in recent weeks, but there's always that lingering doubt. Will they slip up? You said February. I mean, I might harbour a guess at maybe November or December in previous seasons.
Well, they haven't played all the big teams yet, so they haven't played Spurs yet, they haven't played the Manchesters, I believe.
No.
So they beat Chelsea, lost to Liverpool, so it's difficult to tell with Arsenal and the big teams.
The games are coming thick and fast now in the next couple of months. I mean, I think the big advantage for Arsenal is now you have people like Ozil, Walcott chipping in with goals regularly. The pressure's off Sanchez a bit.
Yeah.
Giroud can't even get a game.
No.
I mean, probably is a home win, but the thing with the Premier League, it's the cliche. There's no easy games, and as Middlesbrough have already proven this season, they can be a difficult team.
Yeah, Karanka's done a great job there, and he's got them very, very resolute, well organised. It's sort of we'll move on into minutes to Liverpool, and it's the same with Tony Pulis, very organised like West Brom. So yeah, no guaranteed 3 points at the Emirates this afternoon.
Well, you mentioned Liverpool. Obviously, that game on Monday night was pretty forgettable. I mean, I think Mourinho probably owes us all an apology for wasting that Monday night. Again, though, that gives West Brom some incentive and encouragement. If they can prevent Liverpool from getting an early goal, you would think that perhaps it will be a tough afternoon for Liverpool. I mean, this West Brom side do have a bit more this year. They can threaten, as Tottenham learnt last week. Nacer Chadli obviously banging in the goals to them.
Yeah.
Do you see a comfortable Liverpool win, or is it going to be a 1-0 or a 2-1? Or could the set pieces come back to haunt them again and West Brom nick something? Yeah,
West Brom it'll be if they want to play. Liverpool, if you give them any room, Coutinho, Firmino, you're going to be sliced open, like we mentioned with Arsenal the opening day of the season. So West Brom, it will be a very compact display from them, I believe. Pulis probably not listening, but I believe they'll have a couple of banks of midfield and defence, and they'll try and stifle that amazing Liverpool attacking flair. So Klopp's team will go for that heavy metal football, and it'll be whether they can break it all down quickly. But I do think Liverpool will comfortably progress.
I think it's going to be an interesting game. I'm very interested to see what lineup Klopp picks. Is he going to stick with Sturridge, who didn't really do too well on Monday night, lasted 60 minutes. Lallana obviously came back on. Is he going to start with Sturridge today against the West Brom team that probably are going to be quite robust? And again, it could be the same situation where Sturridge doesn't really get too many touches of the ball. I think he had 22 on Monday.
Right.
Do you, if you're Klopp, are you picking Sturridge, or are you going to bring Lallana back into the team to provide that bit more variety?
100% Lallana. Before his injury, his recent injury, he was just brilliant. He was a lot of the headlines were going with players like Coutinho and Firmino, but Mane, he's just been brilliant though this season before the injury. So I would put him back in. He's fresh. He's back recovered. Sturridge needs to prove himself a bit more from the bench, I think. If he doesn't perform in his chance that he had, then when are you going to take it? He has to take it off the bench, score goals like Giroud at Arsenal. He has to come off the bench and bang in the goals to displace Sanchez, to displace Walcott. So I think it's the same situation.
Well, on to Sunday. Obviously, one good thing already, we all get an extra hour in bed, which is vital.
Yeah, very good.
Keeps us fueled for a big Super Sunday.
Yeah, less moisturiser needed.
First up is Man City against Southampton. Obviously, in Europe this week, the Pep Guardiola wheels are starting to come off a little bit. I mean, they haven't won a game in 3 outings.
Yeah.
Southampton, I mean, they played pretty well at the San Siro in the week. I think they're extremely unlucky to get a result, considering the amount of possession they had and chances. Yeah. Could this be another banana skin for Man City, and could this be the perfect weekend for Arsenal and Liverpool, if they do win comfortably as you've tipped?
Well, Guardiola is a funny case because he's very bristly in the press conferences and with the media when things aren't going his way, and clearly the Claudio Bravo gaffe and the sort of lacklustre performance against Barcelona sort of exemplified things that aren't quite going right for him at the moment. Whether Southampton have enough is another issue, because they've had a European trip, as have Manchester City. But Southampton have carried on the work under Koeman. They're a very good team, just play some wonderful attacking football as well, very talented, tricky players. So Man City, if they're not defensively there, if they're not switched on, playing their from the back football, then it could be really tricky for them.
I see Pep Guardiola said earlier this week that the Premier League, there's nothing really any different with the La Liga and obviously Bundesliga, where he's previously managed. I think this would be a great chance for Southampton to kind of say, well, look, Pep, this is the best league in the world and we can cause an upset. What did you think of the Bravo gaffe? You mentioned that. Is this show a lack of... I mean, he's brought him in as the player that he wanted, but he then said afterwards that maybe he should have had the common sense to actually kick the ball out of play and avoid that kind of situation.
Well, Manuel Neuer, who everyone sort of hails as the best keeper in the world, has made similar mistakes. It's just how for him, Claudio Bravo personally, how he comes back for that. It's Pep will never change his style. He said that. It's very difficult for a manager like that, very successful, to then say, oh well, I should change it to more defensive. Sit back, wait for the defence and the midfield to organise and then go. I think he'll continue. I think Bravo will continue. Caballero, I can't see replacing him. So, well, Joe Hart I would never have got rid of, but he had questions marked over him as well from a pretty dismal Euros and end of season. So I think City will continue the way they have been. It will just be whether Guardiola can sort of revamp them, get people like Sterling, who has been brilliant, other players back up to that sort of level.
Well, on to the big game on Sunday now. This is the one we're all really looking forward to. Should be a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Unless Mourinho parks the bus again. Hopefully he left at Anfield. Who knows? I think this could be a great one for Chelsea. I mean, I really like Antonio Conte. I think he's a bit different to Mourinho. Yes, he has the intensity, but he's more, I don't want to, maybe humble's not the right word, but he's more... under the radar. Softly spoken. He hasn't made a lot of noises. He's just quietly gone about his job so far. And I mean, the last 2 games, they were pretty good. Against Leicester, they were probably the best performance we've seen since they've won the title.
Yeah.
And again, it would be interesting to see, will Mourinho adopt that approach, or will he risk, if he does that, losing even more points on Man City and Arsenal if they win? How do you see this one going?
Well, they're currently, I believe, 5 points off the top of the table, with the 3 Arsenal, City, Tottenham, depending on Tottenham who are playing at the moment. So they're already, as you say, a bit behind. There's pressure. Mourinho, in his certain interviews with other broadcasters, has claimed that he doesn't, it's another match. Yes, he had great support, but he's now a Man U manager, and he'll need that mentality. It's whether he can ignore the probably great support he'll get, maybe a few boo boys because he's in a rival camp now. and it'll be whether he is managing to get the players riled up for it as well, because against Fenerbahce, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Pogba scores, plays great, but that's Fenerbahce. No offence to our Turkish fans, but they haven't really proven themselves yet. The star players are off the ball, Ibrahimovic. So Chelsea, as you say, under Conte, have done a remarkable job, I think, of trying to dismiss that campaign from last season.
Yeah.
And it's Mourinho's got one hell of a task at Stamford Bridge tomorrow.
I think it's going to be very intriguing. I mean, you got Costa, Hazard, to name a couple, with a big point to prove to Mourinho.
Yeah.
And I think, we saw already last week Costa's mind seemed to be on that game already when he was having that little exchange with Conte. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic game. I think we'll do some quick fire predictions, will we?
Yeah, go on.
So Sunderland, West Ham Sunderland, who are you going to go for? What's the scoreline?
2-1 West Ham.
I'm going to go for, I'll stick the same, 2-1 West Ham.
Ooh, copying.
Arsenal against Middlesbrough, 6-0 you're going to say, aren't you?
I am a neutral on this occasion, and I will go for a tricky 3-1 Arsenal.
I think Arsenal probably will keep a clean sheet. I can't see Middlesbrough causing them too many problems, so I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal, surprisingly.
Oof.
For Liverpool, West Brom?
Ooh, I will go with 1-0 Liverpool. 1-0 Liverpool. Tony Pulis to keep that very tight, but maybe a late goal. I'll go late goal, 1-0.
1-0 Liverpool. 1-0 to Liverpool, not West Brom, to be clear.
Yeah, very clear. Liverpool,
wow,
1-0.
I'm impressed that you're back in the Liverpool defence to keep it 2 clean sheets in a row, something they haven't done in recent memory.
Well, I'm a terrible betting man then. No one listens to me.
I think I will probably go for maybe a 2-1 Liverpool, because I think West Brom will score. I have no confidence Liverpool defending set pieces.
Okay.
I think if you're a Liverpool fan, you have to be hiding behind the couch every time it's a corner or a free kick.
Okay. Man
City against Southampton on Sunday.
2-2, a firecracker. Let's last 5 minutes, equaliser. Will Guardiola keep the fans harmonious? But yeah, let's 2-2.
I'm going to go for a controversial 2-1 to Southampton.
Ooh.
I think Charlie Austin could come back. He scored in Manchester before, I think Old Trafford last year, if I remember rightly.
Okay.
And the final game, the big one, I mean, I'm hoping it's not going to be a 0-0. I can't take another 0-0.
The return, as some have called it. I will go with 2-1 to Chelsea.
I was going to go 2-1 Chelsea, but to be different, I'll go 1-0 Chelsea. I think Chelsea will do it.
Okay, guys, we just got one question from our reader Mohammed, who wanted to know whether you guys have any inside information about whether Atletico Madrid are planning to sell Antoine Griezmann this season. Do you have any ideas about this?
Well, Alex is the London correspondent on the ground. I'll leave him with this tricky question.
So Griezmann has been linked with Chelsea for the last 2-3 transfer windows, as the wind takes up. I can't see Atletico letting him go unless it's a phenomenal amount of money. Chelsea, as we know, are trying to rebuild under Conte, but it also depends on Costa, central figure there. Unless they put in a Pogba bar level transfer bid, I can't see him leaving Atletico.
What about, I saw yesterday Labrooks have shortened the odds on Diego Simeone to go to Arsenal after Wenger. Do you think Simeone A could go to Arsenal and B bring Griezmann in the suitcase with him?
Well,
if he fits,
So Arsenal, everyone knows, as Arsenal fans know, that Wenger's probably the last of a kind, like Ferguson as well, of sort of being the umbrella over the whole club. So they can't have another Wenger. Simeone is completely opposite. He's a firecracker. He's wild on the touchline, and Arsenal will need something different. I think a lot of Arsenal fans would welcome him, like they would have welcomed Klopp, but the Simeone situation depends on Wenger. Wenger will sign a contract if he wants one. Arsenal will give him a contract if he wants one.
We've got another question here from Enodi, who wants to know, do you think Wayne Rooney will start tomorrow?
Personally, I can't see it. I mean, I was extremely surprised on Thursday night when he gave up both penalty opportunities. I mean, I heard Michael Owen speaking about it after the game, and I don't always agree with what Michael Owen says for obvious reasons. But I was surprised that a man who needs goals, who's one goal away, I think it was, from Robin van Persie's European record for the club. I think he's a few goals away from Bobby Charlton's record. Do you think that's a give me? He's got to take the penalty, surely. So that says to me that his confidence must be really low. I mean, I know there's the element of he wanted Pogba to, find some form, get some confidence. Same with Martial.
Yep.
But at the same time, you're club captain, you need goals. You have to take that chance to score. So I don't think he will start tomorrow. Firstly, because I don't think Mourinho sees him as the kind of player that he wants in his team at the minute. And secondly, I just don't think he has the confidence, and Mourinho knows that. So I can't see it. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think he's been out of form for a while. I think the criticism has been too much. It's very easy to jump on the bandwagon. He's been dropped by England. He was dropped by Mourinho just before that. He's out of form. As you say, he's out of confidence. I think he definitely should have taken the penalties. You'd never have Cantona, Van Nistelrooy, York, Cole taking off penalties. So definitely should have taken them. But you can see the reasons behind giving Pogba and Martial, giving them goals. Still got to score them. But yeah, the criticism's been too much. He's England's best scorer ever, and he's pretty much a Man United legend. So it's a bit too hasty. But yeah, he won't start. Definitely won't start.
So we're back at obviously the West Ham Stadium. I'm Kieran Beckles, one of the co-founders of the Sport Review. This is freelance journalist Alex. We've been previewing all the Premier League games, should I say, and talking of penalties. Hopefully today Dimitri Payet might score a couple. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the football, and we'll be back soon.